Should we say you were lied to people who voted Leave in 2016? I believe we should not, and I'll tell you why. I'm Mike Cashman, and with the incredibly musically talented and witty Augusta Lees, we've produced a book, It's My Party and I'll Lie If I Want To. It's got links to 140 satirical videos, many of them Augusta playing and singing. But this video is about should we say you were lied to people who voted Leave in 2016, and I'll give you my reasons why I suggest we should not. Let's distinguish the people who voted Leave on two characteristics. There is an old joke which says, what's the difference between ignorance and apathy? I don't know and I don't care. Correct. So people either agree or not with the proposition that they were lied to in 2016 before we speak to them. And in terms of that question as to whether they were lied to, they either care about it or they don't. And so that divides our Leave voters into four groups, roughly speaking. So let's start with those who do believe that they were lied to and they do care about it. So why on earth shouldn't we say that to them? Because they would agree with it. Well, why are we saying it? And by the way, when I say you were lied to, there's something that's one step worse than that, which is you were conned. And people sometimes equate the two, but they are different. You were conned means you were taken in by it. You were lied to means that was the intention of the speaker, which may or may not have been successful. So if we say to somebody who already believes this, you were lied to in 2016, why are we doing that? We're perhaps making a point that they may already feel embarrassed about. It comes over as patronising. We're denigrating their intellect, which we might want to appeal to. There's no purpose. So, okay, but what about those who don't believe that they were lied to? Shouldn't we say you were lied to them? Well, it's been 7 years now since the EU referendum. I'm not talking about what we should be saying in 2017, 2018, 2019. If they haven't heard the idea that they were lied to, then I don't know where they've been. But if they've heard it and they haven't been convinced by it, then however good we think the argument is, we're probably not going to convince them. And it's patronising as well. Again, we're telling them what somebody tried to do to them, and there is a sense in which they may feel, well, I can decide these things for myself. So, okay, those are the people who care about whether they were lied to or not. But what about those who don't care? So there is a group who may recognise that things that were said were false, but they don't care about it. You say, well, it wasn't to do with money for the NHS or cheaper food or trade deals or participation in Horizon or anything else. It was just about sovereignty. And there was one of those on Question Time last night who, in fact, said we weren't lied to. But if you examine what she said next, what she was saying was we weren't conned. In other words, we didn't believe the things that were being said. And so pointing out what was said is a distraction for her. It's an irrelevance. If you were to line the Brexit voters up in order of how definite they were about wanting Brexit, then those who wanted Brexit for, if you like, ideological reasons, for reasons of principle, for reasons of sovereignty, are at one end of the spectrum and may never be convinced. Those for whom economic arguments, 350 million for the NHS, better trade, if that was to happen, are more likely to be in the middle and more likely to be convinced by finding out that some of those things are not true. So we've had 3/4 of our group where there is no point, in my view, saying you were lied to, and definitely no point saying you were conned. So let's now go to the I don't know and I don't care, or I don't believe that I was lied to and I don't care about it if I was. Saying that is, for both reasons, doubly so, is not going to have an impact on them. So you'll see that I'm arguing that in none of these groups of Leave voters is it useful to say you were lied to. Is it effective? People do say to me, oh, I want them to acknowledge the error of their ways, but that's not the point. So if we're not going to say that, what should we say? So for me, this is 2023. It's 7 years since the Brexit vote. A lot has happened since then. It wasn't all anticipated. In the situation that Britain finds itself now, let's consider the question of joining the EU on its merits. Now, getting into the pros and cons of that is another question, and there will be those who say, well, we don't want to flip-flop. We know we've come out. We don't want to just go back in again, come out again, go in again. Of course we don't. That's why we need a supermajority, a very significant majority, 2-1, 3-1, maybe 4-1 of the population in favour of rejoining. We're well on the way to that. But we're not talking about advocating rejoining the EU based on a 52-48 majority. You should never make that sort of constitutional decision based on that sort of slim majority. So I think we should consider the idea on its merits. What I don't find acceptable, what I don't find sensible, is for people to say we shouldn't even consider it because the people of 2016 voted in a certain way, obtained a Brexit. It hasn't worked out very well. Ben Habib, Nigel Farage say Brexit has failed. Okay, people have different views about how to go forward from here. That's valid. But let's not rule out possibilities that might make a difference. Let's consider the possibility of joining the EU in the 2020s. Let's see what that would do for Britain and for the electorate of the 2020s, who should not be restricted by choices made by voters in 2016. So that's my view on our choices going forward. Lots more could be said about it. If you want to hear more about what I think about what's happened, get hold of my book, It's My Party and I'll Lie If I Want To. And you have some fun with that. And as I say, you go through it, you'll find that there are QR codes all the way through, which you scan those, they will take you to videos of the song or sketch in question. And there are 140 of those in the book. So it's a little treasure trove of political satire. Do enjoy it, buy the book, subscribe to the channel, Britannia Waves the Rules. I'm Mike Cashman. Give me your views on what I've said in the comments on the video. Thank you for watching.